Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today is 19th of February 2020. Day is Wednesday. On our table, we have a very interesting, very important article on healthcare, powering the healthcare engine with innovation. We are going to go through some facts of PMJ, then we are going to go through some long-term and short-term goals. Then we'll see the role of startups, innovations, and the things that we need to do to improve our PMJAY and overall health sector in our country. But before that, dear friends, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses, which are available for various different competitive exams. They are designed by best faculties of our country. With the help of our pen drive and tablet courses, there are thousands of students out there. They have cracked various different competitive exams. You can purchase them from StudyIQ.com. If you have any question, queries, doubt regarding it, you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. To download the PDF of today's lecture, you have two sources. Dear friends, please do share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to get updates about our awesome videos. So, powering the healthcare engine with innovation. First of all, we'll go through some facts associated with PMJAY, that is Ayushman Bharat, or you can say Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana PMJ, the National Health Protection Scheme. It's been 18 months since this scheme was launched by our Prime Minister. Countrywide implementation is on. When I say countrywide, out of 36 states and union territories, this scheme is implemented in 32 states and union territories, which is of course not that bad. 84 lakh free treatments to poor and vulnerable patients have been provided by this scheme, and there are 22,000 empaneled hospitals around our country that are part of this, or empaneled hospitals that are basically tied up with this PMJ. It is expanding as well like a wildfire. Every 3 seconds you have one free treatment going on under this PMJ, and every second you have 2 beneficiaries getting verified for this PMJ. So this scheme, this insurance scheme is expanding, of course, and we have to brace our we have to basically expand our capacity. What we have at present is not enough, judging by the way this scheme is expanding. So the key areas of focus should be secondary and tertiary hospitals. We need to get more hospitals on board, empaneled hospitals I'm talking about, and we have to increase the capacity as well. We are going to talk about it in a minute, but one more interesting fact that we have to consider is that at present there is one government bed for 1,844 patients, which is not enough at all, right? We need more, and we have one doctor for every 11,082 patients. Again, a big gap, right? This is absolutely not acceptable. It is, it is not acceptable, and it is not a healthy figure. We need more doctors. We need to train more doctors. We need to produce more doctors. We need more infrastructure, more facilities as far as beds and other things are concerned. In the coming years, it is said or estimated that 3% hospitalization of total PMJAY covered beneficiaries will hit a total of 1.5 crore patients annually. So we are talking about roughly 41,000 patients per day getting benefits under this PMJAY. So as I told you, physical as well as human infrastructure capacity we have to increase. And if you look at long-term strategy, then what we need is proper good hospitals. We need to expand our physical capacities, as well as we have to expand our human resource infrastructure. We need more doctors, more nurses, more compounders, and more medical staff in general. At the same time, we have to produce medical devices, right? We have to produce more medicines, generic medicines, reasonable uh, prized medicines. These are the things that we need. So we have to work on both. When I say physical infrastructure, it's not just about hospitals, it's also about those devices that we use. And this is the reason why we are going to talk about, or this article is talking about innovations, the role of innovation, transformative solutions, right? We are going to talk about it. Now, conservative estimates, as we know, that 41,000 patients per day, so we need 150,000 additional beds in our tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So these are a few facts as well as a few things that we need. Like, of course, health is a very important topic of your mains examination. So this thing should be clear in your mind. This is a very important thing, right? Long-term strategy. Remember the time. What we need now, at present, we need to improve efficiencies and bridge those gaps. Whatever resources that we have at present, we need to use them optimally. Maximum utilization of available resources, efficiently using it, effectively using it. These are the things that we need. We need to improve our efficiencies at present, whatever things we have. At the same time, this is our near-term approach. At the same time, long-term strategy should be expanding hospital and human resource infrastructure. So I hope this thing is clear to you, right? Near-term and long-term strategy. Now, transformative solutions. Entrepreneurial spirit of our country is quite hot at present. You know, startups, they're doing quite well. Startup ecosystem is quite, you can say, flourishing in our country. And it's not just about Flipkart, it's not just about e-commerce companies and other companies, it's not just about limited to Zomato and other big names. There are 4,000 healthcare technology startups in our country, and they are doing quite well. If you go through some things that they are doing, artificial intelligence platforms are being used, then you have tele-ICU platforms, you have this blood delivery using drones, medicines are delivered using drones and things in remote locations. So all those things that were imagination and theoretical ideas are not theoretical ideas anymore. They are practical things that we are doing. And I think, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, we were talking, it was in the Hindu analysis or daily financial news analysis, I'm not sure, but I did talked about this thing that those places like I was talking about this reports, like with the help of this WhatsApp and other things, things have improved, isn't it? Rather than physically visiting doctor, you can pay a fee online, or you can ask someone to pay a fee, and doctor will check your report and get back to you. And I have seen this thing as well, like a few weeks ago. Early morning Sunday, I was in hospital for one of my relative. He had a slip and trip accident. It was a major accident, of course, a domestic accident, and he had a severe, bless him, he's no more, but he got a severe head injury. So basically, his, that scan reports were out. So hospital staff, the doctor was about to, means he was going to leave his home for hospital. So by time they sent this images using Telegram platform, so doctor was able to take a sort of decision. So all these things are, these things are helping innovations as well as this entrepreneurial spirit. 4,000 plus healthcare technology startups are there, and it is high time for transformative solutions to make their way into our hospitals, especially in tier 2 and 3 cities, through to turbocharge the way healthcare is delivered at scale. Now, startups are facing a few problems as well, like constraints or hurdles that they are facing is regulatory and validation standards. They need green signals from government, but things are not uniform pan India. Different states, they have to go through different checkups or regulatory and validation standards. As far as riskier devices and instruments are concerned, they have to rely on foreign regulatory certifications like FDA and CE. The lack of standards, as I told you, right, is a huge, there are huge variations when it comes to requirements. Like different states, they have different things or different criteria. So these startups, they are stuck in this spiral of piloting studies. They have to conduct studies, in different studies in different states. So this is time consuming. They don't get enough, low trust and unstructured environment. They have to go through because tests are not given green signal by the government, finance will not provide you money, and if they do, they will charge high interest rate, and all these things are time consuming. So these are the hurdles that are faced by our healthcare startups, and we need to sort these problems out. If we do solve these problems out, what will happen is that first of all we'll have a standardized operational validation studies in our country. So this will help more startups to come on board. Startups will flourish. They will come out. They will enter this sector with a fresh pair of eye. Fresh pair of eye basically means they will come with new ideas. It's like someone coming at our place, or someone coming our place in the sense as a guest, or maybe a foreign traveler when he or she visits our country. They can look our society from altogether different fresh pair of eyes, right? They can see the good things about our society, they can see the bad things about our society, because they are still not they are used to with the environment. Once we get used to with something, then it becomes very difficult for us to find those solutions, or identify problems. So startups can enter this healthcare sector with a fresh pair of eyes, and they can learn from this experience of traditional hospitals. Traditional hospitals can learn from startups, quick delivery, new ways of doing things, and all these things will help our country. It will help our people in health sector. Of course, after looking after their health will become much more easier, much more affordable, quicker, and there are going to be additional benefits like good health, good human resource, job creation, and many more things, right? So basically we have talked about so many things. We have gone out of the box as well, and we have discussed so many things about this particular article. I have a question for you. Name the CEO of Ayushman Bharat, PMJ and National Health Authority. You have to stick your answer in the comment section of this video lecture. So we are done with this one. Now we are going to talk about visa power. It's about the lady that you can see on your screen. Her name is Debbie Abrahams. She has got an Indian connection. She has someone from extended family living in India, roots from India and things like that. She is a British Labour MP, and she is in news or part of current affairs because she was detained and deported. Government of India revoked her e-business visa 3 days prior to her travel, and this has become a big news because MP of British Labour Party was detained and deported. Now the question is why she was detained and deported. The reason is she has been very vocal and critical about Jammu and Kashmir. She's been talking about human rights, issues of human rights in Jammu and Kashmir. She has talked about Article 370. She was trying to influence, opinion on Jammu and Kashmir. And it's also said that she's been more pro-Pakistani. So all these things. So finally, Government of India decided that she should not be allowed to enter our country, and the government is well within its right to deny entry to anyone that it desires to. Now, there is one more opinion saying that the Government of India is trying to, shut the mouth, or it's becoming a bit more aggressive towards those people and organization who are critical about Government of India. But the thing is, India's interest is our top priority. Government of India's top priority when it comes to international platform is India's interest. You see, there are so many countries like Turkey, Malaysia. Nowadays, that Turkey, a few days ago, Turkey was very, critical and negative about India. Malaysia, again, did the same thing. And India has issued a travel advisory to Indian citizens from traveling to Turkey. We have stopped purchasing palm oil from Malaysia because Prime Minister of Malaysia has been very negative. His views were very negative about Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir. He has talked about so many bad things about India, and this is something that any country will not tolerate. At the same time, we have to understand that at present things are not between UK and India. It's more about this MP only. But we have to understand this thing that UK and other countries, right? See Malaysia, and if you see Turkey, then Turkey is also going through disputes with few countries regarding its borders, and this you have this Kurdish people. When it comes to UK, you have this Falkland Islands. You have issues going on with Mauritius, so your hands are also not clean, right? And you should be very careful about speaking something about India when it comes to internal problems or internal things about India. No country has a right to do that, right? We are a sovereign country, and India has sent this clear signal that India will not tolerate anything negative about our internal affairs, right? So better stay out of it. That's what India has, we can assume from this action of India. Then we have a very interesting and important article called Birds Hit. It's about birds. Birds are under increasing pressure from human activities, habitat loss, pesticides, usage of pesticides. We have killed so many vultures. 99% population drop of 99% in population of vultures, right? They are natural cleaners, they are scavengers, and they are very important part of our ecosystem. Vultures, though they may look ugly, it's our opinion, right? Aristotle has said somewhere, I'm not quoting him word by word, but he said that we don't like lizards and we don't like some animals. It's our thinking, right? Nature has created, for nature every animal is beautiful. It's our human eyes and our beliefs, because of which we don't like few animals like hyenas. They are outstanding animals, but from our point of view, they are ugly. Vultures, right? Again, their utility, their strength, their positives, if you go through them, then you find that they are smashing, but we don't like them because they look ugly to us. Then we have this crazy thing called hunting. Humans hunt animals, and as well as birds and other. We destroy things basically, and we use it for leisure purpose, right? For entertaining our kids, we use this birds. We cage them, and this is personally, I think it's a big sin to do that thing. I don't know. I cannot stand personally. I cannot stand. Means if I see a bird in a cage, I literally feel pain. I don't like it at all. I'm not sure about you, but I'm sure most of us, right? Most of us, we don't like that thing, because birds, they look beautiful on a tree, on a branch of a tree, or on the sky. Anyway, so this State of India's Bird 2020 scientific report is out, and what we find is that endemic or migrant bird population has declined in our country, particularly in past 25 years. If you go through some species, like if you go through IUCN list, then there are a few bird species. They are in least concern category of IUCN. But when we go through those birds and their population in our country, they are found in peril. They are in a very bad situation. And I have a question for you regarding IUCN. 3 questions. Can you give me the full form of IUCN? Second one, who is the founder of IUCN? And third one, IUCN, is it independent or it falls under United Nations or any other organization? So do a little bit of research on IUCN. IUCN is very important, and you are going to find some names as well, facts and names of new birds and other things in this article. So I want you guys to remember it, like sparrow. Remember, sparrow used to be a very common bird. When I was growing up, sparrow was a very common, means like you don't even notice sparrows. They were so common, but nowadays you don't find them in towns and city environment. But good thing is that the population, overall population, is stable, so that's a good thing. When it comes to other endemic species, like there are 12 endemic species, you find them in Western Ghats. Now Western Ghats are very, very important. You should know many facts and things about Western Ghats. So I don't have that much time to explain Western Ghats to you, but I want you guys to do a little bit of research on Western Ghats. They are tropical evergreen forests. They are biodiversity hub of our country. They are known as hottest or the hot biodiversity hotspot as well. You have this hotspots around the world, and this Western Ghats are one of them. So you find, species, animal and other biodiversity in Western Ghats, and you find this 12 endemic species, right? Their population has dropped by 75% in last 20 years when it comes to this, when we talk about birds. And you have this, in spite of having a rich ornithological tradition like birds tradition, only 261 species out of 867 spotted qualified for a full analysis. If you go through this Nilgiri pipit, Nilgiri thrush, then you have Sholakilis, right? You have this Shola forest, high Shola forest grasslands. You can see them on your screen. I have added few facts about it, so go through them. They are classified as southern montane, southern mountain, southern mountain wet temperate forest, and you find them in these two states, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Their speciality is it's like a carpet, right? Grass carpet over your mountains, and you find various species of animals over here, bird species here, and you find this. We have this name of this bird that you can see on your screen. They come from Mongolia. Hoxton's buskatch, right? You find them in Terai grasslands. Where is this Terai grassland? Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and northeastern states of our country. Terai is basically the place that we share border with Nepal. Then you have this bird here, Great Indian Bustard, about to extinct, this one. And then you have this tiny little bird. It's called green munia. This one is widely trapped. So this is the situation of birds, right? And this bird watchers and bird lovers, they have pleaded that India's conservation community expects the Environment Ministry, which released the status report at the global conference of the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of the Wild Animals at Gandhinagar, Gujarat, to secure a future for our birds. Birds play a very important role in our ecosystem. If we don't have birds, then the health of forest will deteriorate. What about our wetlands, right? They will die, and of course they are part of our ecosystem, so we need to protect them. So very informative editorial. Then we are going to talk about again a very important one. It's about USA and this tactics used by USA. The United States annual exercise designates a few countries into this list of developed and developing countries, and what they have done now is they have removed our country India from developing countries list, and they have added our country in developed countries list. Now our country is not a developed country. We are still developing. There are so many things that we have to do, right? We have largest quantity of poor people living on this planet. The largest chunk, you find them in our country. The poorest of the poor the world, you find them in our country. So many people that die every day because of hunger. In terms of society, we don't have that equality in our society, right? Economically, we cannot say that we are that strong country. We are doing good, but that does not mean that we are a developed country. But the question is why USA has considered India as a developed nation. Like, there are a few things behind it. We are going to go through it. Now hold this thought for a mind. In World Trade Organization, you have this Agreement on Subsidies and Countervailing Measures, ASCM. And USA wants to exploit this thing. What it is, I'll explain you in a minute. First of all, let us understand this fact that World Trade Organization, there is no sort of a specific criteria. There are no rules when it comes to dedicating or when it comes to distinction of a country, whether it is a developed country or a developing country. You can use this self-designate. You can India can basically say whether India can decide for itself whether it is a developing country or a developed country. But if you go through World Bank, then World Bank uses per capita incomes to classify a country's category, whether you are a developed country or a developing country. Earlier on used to use this least developed country category as well. United States its trade representative employed an arbitrary methodology, right, for its own benefits. What they have done is they have excluded India from this developing countries list. A few months ago, like last year, India was removed from generalized system of preferences. I'm sure you'd be aware about GSP. It's not a global thing. It's a facility provided by USA to various different least developed or developing countries. So these countries can they can sell their produced items to USA without. It's basically USA giving this benefit that import duties will not be charged on these items that are produced by this least developed and developing countries. So India used to get benefit of it, but it was removed because of these trade issues that are going on. Now USA is saying that Brazil, China and India have performed much better than those in developed world, and therefore they should no longer enjoy the slew of benefits that they have as developing country members of the organization. Then you have this special and differential treatment, S and DT of WTO. Very important thing. Now what it is all about, very easy to understand. The special, and if you go through the name, special and differential treatment, you get a sort of special treatment because you are not doing that well, because you have problems going on, because you are a developing country. You will get a bit of benefits from WTO when it comes to some agreement, implementing some things or some rules. So developing nations will get extra time under this S and DT, right? So the pressure will come down. Developed countries, they have to, let's say a new rule comes out. So a developed nation will have to implement that thing in, let's say, 2 years or 3 years. But a developing nation will get a benefit of like 8 years or 10 years to implement the same thing, because it is a developing country. That country is going through so many other problems and challenges as well. It is not having that many resources, technology and money. So SNDT gives you that sort of facilities. Now SNDT has been particularly beneficial for India in two critical areas. One is in agricultural subsidies, and the second one is agricultural and non-agricultural products and their markets. We can create some sort of restrictions. We can increase import duties so that we can protect our local manufacturers, our agriculture as well as non-agricultural products. We like developing countries, we get these facilities under this SNDT. Now USA wants that India should not be under this SNDT facility. It basically wants us to pull out from this thing so it can sell more items. We don't have any protection. It wants to take away that shield that we have. Now WTO agreement on agriculture was a big, it has we have had a sort of conflict with USA on this agreement on agriculture. USA has been saying that we are giving huge amount of subsidies to our farmers, but the situation of our farmers, they are like 50% of our population is engaged with agricultural activities, and we don't see our farmers in Mercedes and BMWs, right? They are struggling. They are 85% plus farmers are marginal and small farmers, and most of them, they are not using their own land. They are farmers, but they are working on someone else's land, right? So we have many issues as far as our agriculture is concerned. So we need to support our farmers. This is India's stand, and India is right as well. Now under this agreement on agriculture, a developing countries or a developing country can support or its support can be maximum 10% of the total value of agriculture production. Let's say you have produced items worth 100 rupees. So a developing country can provide 10 rupees support. In this 100 rupees, 10 rupee will be supported by government, but a developed country can support only 5%. So out of 100 rupees, only 5 rupee support will be provided by a developed country. And we had a big issue with USA on this thing at WTO platform. So what we are doing now is direct benefit transfer, but again we have some challenges, like as I told you, small and marginal farmers, illiteracy is there, then lack of awareness is there, and then you have this farmers are contractual farming, informal contracts, and so many farmers are farmers, but they are tilling someone else's land. So DBT is not that successful, but we are trying anyway. And this step of USA is clearly about creating a sort of pressure on our country. So I hope things are clear to you. It was a bit technical, not that difficult article to understand. And now why USA is doing it? Because of course, it wants to sell more items to our country. At the end of the day, that's what countries do, right? They are countries, they are like businesses. They are like different businesses. They want to sell more. They want to make more profit. The more profit they will make, the better they can do. You can use this money for defense, health, etc. for their people. That's how it works at global level. Then you have lending a helping hand. It's about India and China. We have this historical ties, Silk Route and civilization, Chinese civilization, Indian civilization. Bollywood movies are connecting us. Dangal and Bajrangi Bhaijaan, and there are other films that are quite famous over there. They have a soft corner for us. We have a soft corner for them, generally speaking. And Chinese youngsters or netizens, right? They questioned India's stand on this coronavirus. What we did is we stopped our flights over there. We in fact created a sort of ban on export of face masks, and this is not taken that means people of China, youngsters are not happy with India because of this thing. But if you look at Japan and China, if you go through their history, then it's been a very gore, or I would say a very bloody history, right? You can go through this Nanking rapes, and there are so many murders and wars and other things. But then as well, Japan has donated 1 million masks. But things are different now, but still they do have this a bit of bitterness in their heart if you go through their history. But then as well, Japan did very well, and Japan also avoided firewalling their borders. So what we have missed is this soft power of our country is eroded, and we should be very careful about this sort of things. This was the right time to help China. Of course, we had our Prime Minister offered help to Chinese people, to Chinese Premier, but it was a bit late, to be honest. If we go through the history, back in 2003, our then Defense Minister George Fernandes, he was there in China, and I'm talking about this SARS outbreak, and we provided a full support. Dwarkanath S. Kotnis, back in 1938, was a 5-member medical team went there to assist this Chinese revolutionaries at this Sino-Japanese war. This Dwarkanath S. Kotnis doctor passed away in China. He died in China, and he was remembered back in 2003. These are the people who have created this, trust and bridge, and they have worked. They have created this soft power. So we need to keep those things in our mind, and in future we should be very careful. If someone is going through this sort of trouble like our neighboring country, then we should definitely stand there to support them. And these are the news items. Of course, you can download the PDF of today's lecture and go through this highlights or these headlines, and then go through the full story in the Hindu newspaper. And I'll see you soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.